Hello everyone, welcome to Knowledge Scale. This is me, Sayyid Shujatullah. Today, we'll be talking about some important key takeaways from G7 summit. Important key takeaways from G7 summit, which was held in Italy. As you already know this fact, G7 was formerly called as G8. Why? Because in this G7 group, there was another member which has been a part of it since a very long time, that is Russia. But recently, Russia has been removed from this group and has been suspended from this group indefinitely. The reason is very simple. Russia has attacked. You might be aware of this fact. Russia and Ukraine war is going on. So Russia has attacked whom? Ukraine. Citing the reason that if Ukraine joins NATO, the Russian borders will become vulnerable to the defense security of their country. That is the reason Russia requested Ukraine, sir, please you don't join Baba in NATO. Whatever you want, I am there. I am the superpower. I will give you. But Ukraine was so adamant at that time that Ukraine did not listen to the Russia and still progressing and still wanted to be a part of NATO. That is the reason, in order to secure their interest and also their defense, Russia has attacked Ukraine, and the country at this point of time is now in a utter turmoil. So just remember this point: a president of a country not listening to a common understanding of NATO deal and has put the total country at risk. That is very absurd precedent that they are having. So as a small GK, I'll tell you, as you know that Russia's president is Vladimir Putin we are having. In the same way, Ukraine president is Mr. Zelensky, right? So these are the common facts that I have told you. Now let us go ahead in our discussion. The topics that we are going to discuss as of now are Nairobi, Washington Vision, G7 Summit. Actually, recently whatever was held, they have got a Nairobi, Washington Vision. Some important steps to be taken up under this vision. Apulia Food Security Initiative, a new food security. How can the population of the world which is not getting the food, how can we secure them with the food security? That kind of initiative is being taken up by the G7. Gender equality related some important steps has been taken by the G7 group. Semiconductors point of contact group. Semiconductors are very, very important in order to manufacture artificial intelligence devices, in order to manufacture drones, missiles, etc. So and so forth. Semiconductors are must. So these G7 countries have together form a G7 semiconductor contact group. Then we are also having Los Angeles Declaration. As you are aware of this fact, declarations, conventions, treaties, protocols, all has been the liking of UPSC to ask a MCQ on it. Other important facts I will spill out, and apart from that, we will also talk about the member countries which are a part of G7. Before going into the discussion of all of these topics, now let us see a customary MCQ that I always put in my lectures. It is there on the screen. Pause the video and do it. Okay, you can see here very clearly. Pause the video and try to do it. At the end of the lecture, anyhow, I will be talking about this question in detail. Consider the following statement. Statement number 1. G7 group was founded in the year 1997. True or not true? That is what you have to find out. True or not true? Russia has been suspended from G8 following invasion on Ukraine. True or not true? G7 is an intergovernmental informal group and the decisions of G7 are not binding on the nations. True or not true? So these are these options that are there. Try to do this. If you even don't know this question also, you try to do it. Why? Because if you read the statements, that will always stay in your subconscious mind, and in future it will help you to learn, okay, very accurately. Let us now go ahead with the discussion, whatever the key takeaways of G7 summit held in Italy. Okay. You can see here G7 leaders, and in this particular summit, Ukraine President Zelensky also joined. First of all, the country is in turmoil. So what they require money to buy for the basic necessities for their population. Try to look after the security of the population. That is more important. Okay, so that is the reason here, my dear students. So first thing that need to be given to the Ukraine is nothing but a money package. Okay, and they have allocated the money package to the Ukraine, and Zelensky is going to have this much amount of money. I hope that whatever has been destroyed, he uses without any corrupt practices. He uses it for the development, for the welfare of the people, because it's almost around 1.5 years they have been in a war-like situation. So the G7 announced around $50 billion for the Ukraine. Okay, And they said that they are going to emphasize through interest earned on immobilized Russian asset. What is this money? You may be aware of this fact or not, I don't know, but still I wanted to tell you. Why? Because Russia's investments are there across the world. When the war broke out, these G7 countries, the developed countries, what they have done is they have freezed the assets and the accounts held by Russian businessmen also. So they are having lot of assets in other countries. On that assets, they are getting what? Okay, interest. So that interest is being given to Ukraine, okay, as a form of a money package, as a bailout package for their development welfare. So this $50 billion for Ukraine is given on the from the interest earned by the immobilized Russian assets in other countries of their country, emphasizing the commitment to support Ukraine's military budget and reconstruction needs. So whatever the Ukraine military requires, that will also be purchased from that money. And apart from that, they will also give Ukraine some important arsenal that they can fight with the Russian soldiers. Apart from that, a budget will be also presented for what to be done, what not to be done in a planned manner. And whatever has been destroyed in this war will be also used for the reconstruction needs. So this money. This is the first point here. The second point here is G7 has properly emphasized that they are very much committed to UN Charter of International Peace. UN Charter and International Peace is nothing but there are some rules and regulations are there in the Charter. Charter is nothing but a list of items that you have to follow, list of rules that you have to follow, that list of provisions that you have to follow. That is itself is called as Charter. So UN Charter for international peace, for the global peace, one country should not annex another country, one country should not create any political stability in another country. These kind of things are also written. One country should not influence other country with regard to their policy. Okay, external influences should not be there in the governance of a particular country. All these important points are written in this UN Charter and international peace. So G7 summit in that group has said that we are very much committed to this particular charter and international peace. And this G7 has also uploaded Biden's comprehensive plan for the Gaza. You might be aware of this plan. Biden has actually formulated, and the US Senate has actually formulated a plan to stop somehow the Hamas and Israel war. And list of items are given, list of statements are given, list of rules and conditions are given that both sides need to follow in order to make the place safer for the civilians. So Biden's comprehensive deal for the Gaza, reinforced stability in Indo-Pacific region, deepened cooperation with African partners for global stability. All these were a part of Biden's administrative decisions and has been applauded by the G7. The G7 pledged to confront non-market policies, build resilient supply chain, and protect critical technology to ensure economic security and stability. As you might be aware of this fact that lot of things, okay, we also import, we also export. What has happened during the COVID? They are not able to supply us and we are not able to manufacture, we are not able to make into finished products. So that kind of situations will come. So in this G7, it has been emphasized that a proper resilient supply chain, resilient means if any kind of pandemic like situation happens again, the world should be resilient and the supply should not be stopped, because now in a days of globalization, in a days of free trade and free movement of goods, services, technology, capital, etc. is there. Okay, it is imperative for all from the perspective of all countries that one is dependent on other. That is the reason it is important to have a resilient supply chain and also to protect the critical technologies that can have a larger impact on economy, larger impact on security, like cyber attacks are there, like AI is there. So we have to protect deep fake technologies are there. So we have to also try to ensure that we protect our critical technology, nuclear technologies are there, missile technologies are there. All these we have to protect very properly so that it should not fall into the hands of wrong people that will pose again a threat to the world peace. Right, let us go ahead now. Right, the G7 committed to support developing countries also through initiatives like Nairobi, Washington vision to break global debt impasse. Very, very important point here. What is the Nairobi, Washington vision is related to? Question may come. Nairobi, Washington vision is related to option number 1, cyber attack. Option number 2, global debt. Option number 3, you can say that nuclear technology. Option number 4, whatever it is, all the above. So this point you have to remember as a student of as a UPSC and any other state examination. Nairobi Washington vision is basically related to global debt impasse. It means in order to restrict the global debt, in order to the countries which are suffering from lot of debt, like just like Sri Lanka, which is there of our neighbor, it is also suffering from economic crisis. And you can also see that Pakistan is also having lot of inflated price with regard to their goods, vegetables and basic necessities. So this global debt, whatever is happening, we have to make a pause to that debt, and we have to make some productive we have to take some productive steps so that this global debt should reduce. They also planned contribution to multilateral development banks, enhancing their financial power for future investment. Multilateral development banks we are having, just like BRIC Bank we are having, just like Asian Development Bank we are having, like that many banks are there. So G7 countries have told that we will empower these banks, so that these banks should lend to the developing and underdeveloped countries, so that a uniform development should happen all across the world, which has been still struggling from the outbreaks of pandemic, later on very other diseases like Ebola, so on and so forth. In this G7 summit, they have also talked about to promote health and food security. To promote food security, they have taken an initiative called as Apulia Food Security Initiative and call for a new pledges for pandemic fund. So G7 wanted to establish a pandemic fund. In this fund, India can also be a part of it in future. So a pandemic fund should be created for the health purpose, and for the food security purpose, Apulia Food Security Initiative will be launched. And what provisions are there, what are the various things that they have written in these initiatives are not yet clear, because they have not given that particular document of it, but they have told that these are what they have taken the decisions. Okay. And G7, a group of 7 countries have said also that they are committed to expand immunization coverage and address antimicrobial resistance to strengthen global health and food security systems. So basically, antimicrobial resistance is nothing but if I am having headache, I take a tablet like Disprin. Now just imagine a point, even if I take a Disprin, I am not able to get over of the headache. Just imagine this point. So what is happening here is I have been taking Disprin, my body has now accustomed to the Disprin or the headache, whatever the chemicals are there for the release of this headache. Okay, thus headache chemicals are able to recognize this particular Disprin and able to bind very well, and that is how this particular drug is not able to affect that particular chemicals. That is the reason, if I tell you very clearly, like mosquito is there. Mosquito causes what? Malaria. Now for malaria treatment, we take what? Tablets. Continuously we take tablets. Now what happens is the malaria, the new evolved malaria will come with such kind of antigens which this particular tablets will not able to kill it. That is called as new strains. New strains of malaria will come into existence, which are resistant to whatever the traditional medicines that we are taking. So here in this G7, they talked about antimicrobial resistance we have to address. There are lot number of diseases where the traditional tablets, whatever we had from a long period of time, they are not working. And this condition is also called with another name called as super bug. Remember this point, right? Let us go ahead more. G7 countries have also talked about they want to invest in children's and women economic participation. All these G7 takeaways are taken from the Times of India newspaper. So investing in children and women's health. To tackle gender equality, the G7 countries has pledged support of 200 million more women in the workforce by 2035. Okay, so more and women participation in the workforce will lead to more valuing of women in the society, will lead to independence of their decision making, will lead to give them more conscience, more cautiousness with regard to what is happening outside the world instead of just sitting in the four walls. Okay, so to promote workforce participation, okay, 200 million has been allocated by this G7. By 2035 they will give investment in childcare, including contributions to the World Bank investment in children's childcare initiative, aims to promote women economic opportunities globally. Okay, aim to promote women economic opportunities globally. So wherever the countries are there, the countries will be asked to promote gender equality measures and promote women participation in the workforce. Okay. Then enhancing migration partnership. The G7 endorsed a comprehensive approach to migration, focusing on addressing the root cause, why the migration is happening, why this number of people are taking the refuge. So let us address them from the root cause, strengthening safe migration pathways and enhancing border management. No one should infiltrate. No one should should have any insurgency in their country. So proper border management protocols and standards will be established in future. So enhancing migration participation has also been taken care of. This aligns with the principle of Los Angeles Declaration on Migration and Protection. If they ask you in the examination this question, Los Angeles Declaration is related to, first one, saving the endangered species. Second one, it is a non-nuclear proliferation treaty. Third one, it is a female infanticide measure taken by the globe. Fourth one, migration and protection. So your answer will be what? Migration and protection. So Los Angeles Declaration is related to migration and protection. This important point you have to remember. Okay. Then they have also talked about the very famous, the infamous addressing artificial intelligence and technological challenge. G7 leaders committed to bridging the digital divide, leveraging AI for quality jobs and promoting AI safety. First of all, digital divide. Okay. Digital divide is nothing but some people are using the digital devices, some people are using the internet, some people are using the smartphone, some people are not using. So this much distance is there, no? The distance should come down. This digital divide, whatever is there, should come down. Means all of the people who are across the world who is not having the support of the digital devices and the internet and whatever the social media etc is there, they should also come into in this particular forum, and inclusivity should be there with regard to the usage of digital technologies. Apart from that, AI is anyhow booming, so AI should be promoted and should be able to generate quality jobs to the people. And AI is also two-edged swords. One side it can do a lot of things, other side it can harm the society also. So that is the reason AI safety is also important, and AI as it is booming, quality jobs are also important. They also established semiconductor G7 point of contact group to ensure resilient technology supply chains and enhance international AI standards. So this semiconductor G7 point of contact group is nothing but resilient technology supply. Means lot of the semiconductors will come from China, to come from Taiwan, very few Eastern countries. So whenever any war breaks out, whenever any global conflicts happen, these people are not actually cooperating with them. Okay, so that is the reason they wanted to build a resilient supply chain. Whatever happens in the world, what kind of wars happens in the world, doesn't matter. Ultimately, what is important here is the supply should continuously go on, and they will also give us a global standards of AI, just like they have also given for the financial stability standards we are having in the form of Basel protocols. In the same way, they will also give us AI standards in future. So stay tuned with the latest news that we are having, and make sure that you will be a part of it and empower us. And take care. Bye bye. Have a nice day.